While the Omnic crisis raged on, the governments of the world looked to their bravest, fiercest, and most fearless soldiers to come to their rescue. As it just so happens, America was already in the process of creating a squadron of super soldiers. These soldiers are the best of the best, already at their physical prime and proven to be efficient in the field of battle. They would call this the Super Enhancement Program. The program had been recruiting subjects since before the crisis, and these subjects would receive a code name based on the order in which they enlisted. The first would be Soldier 1, the 24th would be Soldier 24, and so forth. The program itself was oversaw by Dr. Victoria Norton, and while we don't know much about her, we do know that she spent a significant amount of time at Horizon Lunar Colony, alongside Sigma, whose real name I cannot pronounce. Some potential recruits would join the program years before the Omnic crisis, such as Gabriel Reyes, a member of the United States Army whose achievements earned him the nickname Mustang. During his time in the army, he would help topple multiple authoritarian regimes and would later earn himself a coveted position in the government's controversial and classified Soldier Enhancement Program. On the other side of the coin, some soldiers would join the program during the Omnic crisis, such as Sergeant Morrison, whose commanding officers feared the program would prove too deadly and they'd lose one of their finest soldiers. Eventually, Morrison would join the program anyway, and he would be given the code name Soldier 76. This would anger the other recruits, who thought that any soldier who enlisted this late into the Omnic crisis was a coward, seeing it as a sign of hesitation and subsequently would haze him for it. Although this was not true for all recruits, as Soldier 24, who recognised Soldier 76's determination that he judged would carry him through the enhancement process, and, despite their differences, these two soldiers would become fast friends, providing emotional support to each other throughout the endless barrage of medical experimentation they both endured. Eventually, the tests they endured would end and only a minority of the candidates would survive the process. The country's finest soldiers sacrificed in a lab in order to create a handful of super soldiers. These super soldiers, including the likes of Soldier 24 and 76, would soon be cleared for battle and joined the fight against the Omnics. As part of the SEP, Gabriel Reyes was involved in the Battle of Echo Park, where his actions would directly save the lives of thousands of civilians and driving the Omnic forces back to Glendale. Jack Morrison, on the other hand, would be deployed slightly later alongside Reyes. They had both been assigned to a unit of soldiers to hold a junction and keep back the Omnic attackers. Morrison would be struck 3 times by bullets but wouldn't even notice until after the fight was over. The battle was a success, but the unit they had been assigned to was not faring well. At least half of the soldiers had been lost in battle and any survivors had been heavily wounded by the Omnic attackers. After the battle, the 2 super soldiers would be visited by Dr. Victoria Norton, who had come to see her experiments in action. Morrison and Reyes would depart in the transport with Norton, and it was only then that he would realise that he had been wounded. But worse, he took a moment to look at the wounded soldiers littering the transport. Keeping them alive was his responsibility and he let them down, going so far as to tell Dr. Norton that today did not feel like a victory. But she would remind him of something Napoleon once said, that he'd rather his generals be lucky rather than good. After today, she'd place odds on both of them. Both Morrison and Reyes would exchange a glance. If being surrounded by dying soldiers was lucky, neither of them wanted it. Despite this, Morrison would go on to become a legend, the golden-haired hero who appeared out of nowhere to save the day, along with the lives of hundreds if not thousands of soldiers. Reyes, on the other hand, would opt for smaller, less flashy missions. However, he was still an integral part of the program's public success, and would enjoy the missions that challenged his intelligence or his ability to be covert. As for the remaining soldiers of the Super Enhancement Program, not much is known about them, but we do know that some of them are still out there in the shadows, operating in secrecy. After the success of the program, both Gabriel Reyes and Jack Morrison would be approached to join an international task force called Overwatch, a team of talented individuals who had proven their ability to single-handedly hold back the Omnic invasion, and as a team, their potential was unlimited. Reyes would be the first person to accept the invitation, becoming the first person to be recruited into Overwatch officially, and ultimately becoming its first strike commander. The second person to accept the invitation would be Jack Morrison, and, with their experience and ability to inspire their fellow soldiers, they would lead Overwatch and the united forces of the world into battle against the Omnic invaders.